Managing those pennies. Brought to you with the good wishes of Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
And we certainly hope that you are ready to take in this information. It's 17 minutes after 6 o'clock. It's a lovely Monday morning, and Crystal Howell joins us now. She's a chartered professional accountant and certified internal auditor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to December.
Yeah.
Welcome to Monday. It's a new week.
It is.
Yes, and today we are going to help people focus as they may be planning on, doing a little sprucing up, and they may need to access some funds through a Christmas loan. They will be out there, I'm sure, even being offered by the Republic Bank. But what can you say about, how we approach this?
Well, first of all, I'm hoping that persons will get a better understanding of exactly what a loan is. I know a lot of persons get the personal loans and then they don't understand everything about them. I've come across a lot of persons who are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to seem as though they don't know what they're doing. But then they get unexpected surprises and they're not sure how to deal with them. And a loan is something that you're going to be stuck with for a fairly long time. So you want to make sure that you get an option that works best for you and your circumstances. So we're going to start off with a definition for what a loan is, and that is basically a fixed amount of money that you're going to borrow and then you're going to repay in installments. And it's usually over, if it's a small loan, you could have it for about a year, up to 7 years. That's usually what's considered a small loan. Okay. And then once you've repaid it, it's considered closed. So there are two types of loans. You can have one that is unsecured and one that is secured. So the secured loans are usually backed by some form of collateral, whether it's an asset or if in the form of a credit card, which is sometimes the quickest form of a loan. It's backed by sometimes your savings, and the credit card is more like a revolving loan. You borrow the money, you pay it back, you borrow the money, you pay it back, and it comes usually with a higher set of interest. Whereas some persons may get an unsecured loan because they don't have any assets. Like, for instance, a vehicle would also be considered an asset. If you get a vehicle loan for a 7-year period, the vehicle becomes the underlying asset. The reason why this differentiation is important is because the asset usually helps to determine what kind of interest you're going to be able to pay back, what security you're going to be able to provide to make sure that this loan can work for not only yourself but for the bank. So if you defaulted on your vehicle loan, they at least have the vehicle to have as collateral to be able to recover some of their funds. So if the loan is unsecured, which means you have no assets, that is a higher risk to the bank, which means they're going to charge you more interest to compensate for that risk.
All right. And so the ease of accessing that unsecured loan also means that, it's really all at you. You have a little more to pay for that convenience.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there are lots of reasons persons might get loans around the holidays. You want to spruce up around the house. So some persons might actually get a home improvement loan, which you can get some quotations for the materials that you may need. And you can use that as a means to be able to say to the bank, look, I am not just getting a loan for a frivolous purpose. I'm looking to do some improvements around the house so the home looks a little better for the holidays. What kind of interest rate or terms can I get now that you understand better the purpose of the loan that I am trying to acquire?
Okay. So what if you decide that you're going to get this loan, but you also want it to be beyond that kind of purposefulness, like a greater purposefulness? You want to do a little sprucing up, but you also want to maybe invest in something that could bring you a little more. Is that something that is okay, or that people should consider as well?
Definitely something that is okay. It's actually encouraged, of course, on my end, because I do prefer when persons borrow funds, especially if they're going to take advantage of Christmas specials, to use it to help to advance their businesses, as we've been discussing over the past several months. There's absolutely nothing wrong with taking advantage of that. But depending on the type of loan you want to get will determine what information you need to bring. So if you're going to be using it to support your business, it would be helpful, as we would have been mentioning, to bring all of your information, the receipts that you have had, the invoices, records to show that this business has been doing pretty decently, but with the additional money, you want to take it to another level. So the business plans that we've been discussing, which we will get back to, all of the strategic information, the financial data that will help to show persons you're taking this business seriously. You're not just borrowing the money so that you could spend it frivolously, because a business can spend money frivolously as well. If you can show that you have taken this seriously, you have a better chance of getting a loan with favorable terms.
What are some of the biggest mistakes people make when they get loans?
Not understanding the contract they're signing. You have to read it very carefully, understand what the interest means, understand if it has a balloon payment, understand if there's a penalty for early repayment, if there's variable interest rates, what happens if the interest rate goes up, how much is your monthly payment going to go up by, what happens if you can't repay, how much of a cushion you have, how many fees you have to be looking at. People don't read the contracts to see the amount of money they're going to get. They have in their head how they're going to spend it, but they don't have a plan for how they're going to repay it. And I think not understanding what you're getting into, if you don't feel comfortable speaking to the person you're borrowing the money from, which you should, find someone who can talk to you, no matter how small the loan is, because it is going to make a difference for however long you borrow it. If you borrow it for a year, a year is a long time to be struggling to pay back any amount of money. And the longer that term gets, the more you are tying yourself to something that will cause you a great deal of discomfort. You do not want the loan to put you into more financial difficulty than you're already in.
Well, what about if you look at it and decide, well, or is this okay? I know you're talking about interest, and the longer it is, the more interest you'll likely pay over the time.
Yes.
But what if you determine that that is your way of being responsible and ensuring that you choose to go with an amount that you can safely handle, but if you can do more, do more?
If you think that you can manage it, that is quite fine. That is a tool like anything else that you can use to advance your life or to advance your business. You just have to make sure that it is within your means. And there's nothing wrong with pushing a little bit harder. It might motivate you to go there and find ways to make sure that you can get this done, because you still don't want that you borrow an amount and you just barely borrow enough, and then you're stuck with a large debt that has not done everything you need to be able to get the business going, because now you have a half-finished business and a mountain of debt. And then that business may not be able to help you to repay the same loan that you just borrowed. So it's a balance. Everything is about balance, making sure that you cover everything you need to do to get your business going, but don't go to an amount that will cause you so much financial difficulty that you are now at threat or at risk of not being able to repay the loan in full.
So you need to be able to service that properly.
Yes.
Okay, so what about, do we bring back out the spreadsheet as well here
We're gonna
for the budget? Because sometimes people find themselves picking at the money,
Yes.
but not really using it for what they really wanted to do.
Yes. So we're going to skip a couple of slides and go to the 5th slide. And I have some examples of what the loan amortization schedule is going to look like. So with the first example, we borrowed $5,000, and we're assuming that you borrow this at an interest rate of 12% for a period of 5 years. And you will see from the example the amount of money that you're going to repay in interest. And these spreadsheets, this one I actually just got from Excel. It is widely available. You can go online. Most financial institutions would have a loan calculator on their website. So you can go around and play with the numbers and see upfront how much it is that you're going to be paying back. So you have the installment there, and then you could see this very interesting figure here, the total amount of interest that you are going to end up paying back over the period of the loan. So what I've done is to also, if you go to the next slide, show what happens if your interest rate change. And you will see that the amount of money you will now have to pay every month, and you also see the total interest has come down considerably with a drop from 12% to 8%.
A drop is always good.
A drop is always good, but it
It could
helps
go
you.
the other way too.
Yeah. So when you're looking at your variable interest rates, you have to think about what happens if my interest rate, which is now 8%, goes up to 12%.
Right.
So those are the kind of conversations you need to have so you can understand how to manage your cash flow. Because if that does happen because you have a variable interest rate loan, you have to be able to determine if your cash flow can manage and handle that and what additional difficulties that will place you in.
That sounds good. It's also a good place to stop for this week. But remember, next Monday, we will give you some more great tips with the help of Crystal Howell in managing your pennies, coming to you with the good wishes of the Republic Bank.
Managing those pennies, brought to you with the good wishes of Republic Bank. We're the one for you.